The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Technology. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Pat Scott. Hello, Pat.
Hello there.
And Father Andrew Kinstetter. Hi, Father Andrew.
Howdy, howdy.
So our first topic this week, we'll get right into it because we got a lot to cover. So our first topic this week is based on an article, opinion rumor piece, shall we say, or an opinion based on a rumor that came out of ZDNet by Adrian Kingsley Hughes, who writes that with some, I think, undue certainty, is my opinion, that the iPhone is going to get rid of its ports. There will be no ports left on it, no holes in the case. Apple already got rid of the headphone port a few years ago, and now he claims that, based on some rumors, that Apple will remove the Lightning port, where you plug in your charger if you're not doing Qi charging. That you won't be able to plug it into your computer. It's just going to be a portless slab of glass and aluminum. And then once Apple does it, everyone else is going to do it. Samsung and everybody who follows suit. What do you guys think? Does this seem likely either in the short term or the long term? Can we get by without ports on our phones? What do you think, Father Andrew?
I hope they're ready for a mutiny.
Why is that?
Well, Apple is kind of just known for doing that. I remember when the earphone jack was removed, that caused quite the stir. And of course, now looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if I ever really needed it to begin with. But because I've migrated everything to Bluetooth. But I think there are a vast majority of people that still use the port. I'm thinking, I know the obvious one is everybody charges their phone. I think it charges faster than a wireless device or wireless charging. So that's super helpful. And they're going to have to really up their game in wireless charging if they want to make that. The other thing that there's a number of things that, unless you're willing to jump into the entire wireless world with earphones and everything, people still use the port. One in particular that I'm thinking just off the top of my head is my dad uses the port because he can connect his iPhone to the elliptical, and it'll put the sound through the speakers. In fact, my mom listens to Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World this way.
Nice. So, very good.
Yeah. But without the port, that elliptical doesn't have the Bluetooth capabilities to connect to the phone in the same way. So they'd have to get a new elliptical that has the right capabilities and
yeah, or a Bluetooth transmitter thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, do I think that they're going to go this way? I actually suspect that they will. Because they're known to just kind of pull the plug on these things and let everybody else catch up.
Literally pull the plug.
Yeah. And of course, any of us who are in the tech world are going to quickly adapt, and it'll be sleek and cool looking. Mm-hmm. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that will be upset by it, by all the various peripherals that maybe that they don't want to upgrade quite yet. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I don't use it much, but I've helped a lot of people get the Lightning to headphone adapter that it makes them be able to use their old headphones and that type of thing. I also use it for my Square when I'm at client's house. Whenever I get back to that I can take a payment on a credit card through the Square, and that is not wireless. That is definitely through the port.
They do have Bluetooth ones, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen. Maybe I just didn't get those particular ads, or I didn't notice them from Square.
Well, yeah, no, I think PayPal has one that's Bluetooth, I think. But there are payments, so it's possible out there, but it's also less secure.
Well, and the other thing about it is Bluetooth is not exactly 100% accurate all the time. I have lots of connection problems and having to reboot and reconnect and disconnect, and Bluetooth is not the best connection.
No.
And especially if you've got headphones, you want to use your swiper, then you got to figure out how you're going to get one or the other back up and going again after you've switched. So yes, I think they're going that way eventually. I think that it'll phase it in like they did with the headphone jack. Okay, the newest phone comes out without it, but maybe the lesser phones still are being made and sold with them still, and kind of leading people down that path. But yeah, there's going to have to be a lot of adjustments, and I think Bluetooth's going to have to be up its game in terms of reliability.
I mean, Apple's been doing that with, its proprietary, like with the AirPods, making that work better, the pairing, and so I think that's part of the strategy is, once you get the AirPods working, that whole technology is about making the whole Bluetooth system better. But I'm thinking back to when they switched from the 30-pin connector to the Lightning and how much chaos that caused. Now, Lightning certainly is superior to the 30-pin connector. Don't get me wrong. I think we all agreed that. But just everyone had 30-pin accessories. Remember the clock radios that you plugged it into, and suddenly everybody's clock radios and speakers didn't work anymore. And a lot of people were unhappy with that. I mean, I remember back to when they got rid of the floppy disk in the iMac, and people were like, well, what are we going to do? We always adapt. We always, have to, I mean, what do we got? We don't have any choice. We accept it or we don't.
Well, and we're going to have to buy all the new adapters and cords and I mean, whatever that looks like, wireless charging pads and everything. It was just, you mentioned the 30-pin adapters, and I helped my parents clean out some of their old tech gear. And you wouldn't believe how many cords I found with the old 30-pin connectors. Yep. Which, you just accumulate, but then they have absolutely zero use for the new phone.
And I've got a bunch of iPad 2s around that my kids use, that I still get the 30-pin cords, and I've got the Lightning cords, and I don't know. And you're still going to need Lightning cables, because I can't imagine them going portless on an iPad. They're not doing wireless charging on iPads yet. It's so, I don't know. I don't think, my sense is someday, but like not this year. I don't think even next year. I think we're several years out. I mean, I'll be proven wrong. They'll introduce it in July, but so we'll have to charge our phones Qi charging probably, and they're going to have to get the high speed Qi charging like some of the Android phones do. They've been a little lax in that regard.
And they're going to have to include them in the box with the phone.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, because they can't. The little outlet plugs are not going to do us any good. So they'll have to be a Qi charger in the box. There probably won't be any headphones in the box. You'll have to buy your own headphones, your own Bluetooth headphones, and they're probably hoping you'll get AirPods.
Oh, and I did see where they were not going to be shipping the little earbuds anymore.
Right.
They're dropping that now.
Yeah. I think partly because everybody's already got headphones, although
5 sets.
Yeah. Although there aren't a whole lot of Lightning connector headphones out there. So that might be an indicator that might be coming sooner than later. That if they're not shipping Lightning connector headphones, I know we can always use adapters. I don't know how many adapters you guys have lost, but I've lost enough of them. But okay, so then the other question is how do we troubleshoot our phones? I don't connect my phone to my computer very often, but when I need to, I really need to, to back it up or to reboot it or restore it. If I can't connect it to my computer, I'm going to have to take it to the Apple Store, and that's going to be a huge hassle.
They're going to make it so it's Bluetooth connects to your Apple device, to your Mac, instead of, because right now, like even on Windows, I can connect my iPhone to Windows and speakers to Windows and things like that.
Right.
For some things.
Right, but for troubleshooting, you're gonna need a wired connection. There's going to be some kind of port on the inside or underneath the SIM card slot or something that only the Apple Genius will have access to. There's got to be some way for them to get into, or maybe even like something like the Smart Connector, which actually would be a better way of doing certain things, because it's not an open port. It's a contacts on the back. I don't know. It seems very. I mean, the advantage was clear, waterproofing. There's not going to no water, no dirt, nothing will be able to get into the. It'll be a sealed case, which is good. But yeah, we'll see. But Father, I think you're right. It's going to start at the high end. And Pat, you said this too. It's going to start with the high end phones, the iPhone 15 Pro Max Super, whatever it's going to be, and then they'll work down from there. Yes. So all right. So let's talk about our next topic, and this is a bit of a current events topic. And by current events, I mean the virus. So this is related to something with the virus, but was very interesting that came up. Obviously, we all know that nursing homes has been hit hard by this virus, and they've been locked down. Families can't get in to visit their loved ones. It's really a tough situation. And it's what makes it even worse is that when the older folks don't have these connections, these personal connections, these visits from their family, we know their health goes down rapidly, even if they don't have the virus. These connections are so important, and because these nursing homes get locked down, they don't have the social activities in the nursing home. So it's really a tough situation. So one of the things that can help is by having video calls with families. And so, FaceTime, which I have to, as an aside, it's very interesting to me that FaceTime has become the generic term for all video calling. I'm sure Apple is sad about that.
I've sort of seen Zoom also take that role.
Yeah, well, for group calling. Yeah, for group calling. But it's interesting that FaceTiming has overcome Skyping. It used to be Skyping, but now it's FaceTiming. So I just thought that was interesting. So now, given when everything just started, it was really hard because there'd be maybe a couple of iPads in a nursing home, and the nurses, in the midst of everything else they got to do, they got to run around helping these older folks, some of whom are more or less lucid or capable to connect. And here in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Senior Care Association and the Attorney General's office announced that they were providing 730 tablets to nursing homes across the state. I'm gathering mostly Android or tablets because they're coming from Amazon, Walmart, Teal Technologies, and
cheaper.
Acer. Yeah, cheap tablets. Another company or nonprofit actually called Brighton Marine. It's a veterans organization, is donating 350 iPads to the veterans soldiers home here. And we have two soldiers homes in Massachusetts to help them, and it's interesting because it recognizes how this technology connects people. And the one that really got me, and I'll ask you for your input. But the one that got me was this guy whose mother is at an assisted living facility, and he bought a pair of Echo Shows. So these are the Amazon Echoes with a camera and a screen, and he asked them to put one in her room. They must have had to connect it to the Wi-Fi, and the Echo has that unique the drop-in feature, so that you can initiate a conversation without the person on the other end accepting it. Which at the time when they introduced, I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want people just dropping in on me. But this is great because he can just drop in on her and talk to her. And I think she has some dementia, so he can just talk to her, read to her, play music for her, and they don't need the staff to do anything. It's just, I think that's a fantastic idea, and I've actually seen Amazon is selling them in pairs, so that would be a great idea. So what do you guys see? Have you heard anything along these lines, or seen any examples of people trying to help seniors and families stay in touch? Because this is hard. This has been really hard.
I haven't seen anything locally about, that, but I've seen, some national articles talking about, yes, it's good to see if you can get an iPad to your family member so that somebody can help them with the calls. Of course, the issue there is, do they already know how to use it? And if they're even able to hold it, because that's the problem. I really see that the Amazon, what was it you said, the show?
Echo Show, yeah.
And doesn't Facebook have a portal that's kind of the same thing?
They do.
They tout for that.
Yeah.
So those are, in some ways, because they're on a stand and so they don't have to be held, is probably an easier thing for the seniors to be able to handle. I do have a lot of my clients who are in nursing homes and facilities right now, and if they've got a smart device at all, they've all learned how to use it to call out and be talked to, and the ones that just have a flip phone, at least are getting phone calls from their families.
Right.
But yeah, that's real important because they feel isolated so fast.
For me, I think that this is a wonderful approach to technology, especially in this COVID situation, but also beyond. I continue to just feel like I'm beating my head against the wall about all the Zoom meetings and you know and how Zoom and all the business stuff and it's good, and I don't want to downplay it, but it is there's something in that kind of realm that I've just really struggled about, because you're not physically in the presence of other people.
Yeah. And
there's something innate in us that God created us to be in relationship means more than a virtual. And so if everything goes, especially on a business end, if everything goes to Zoom, you're missing so much of the personal interaction.
Right.
But this is sort of kind of taking that out of a business situation and put it into, you know, these wonderful people who are unable to have visitors. And of course, the key to all of this is that, again, God created us for relationship. And so I think I'm really happy to kind of take my attention off of Zoom and all of that kind of world and turn it towards to seeing what people are able to do to connect individuals personally, especially those who are unable to have visitors, who are, you know, in the situations in the nursing homes where they're more prone to encounter that loneliness,
right?
Which can be so detrimental to them. And I love the whole idea of the echo shows. That you know, the people don't even have to know how to hit, you know, call, and your loved ones can drop in, as it's called.
Yeah.
So I think this is brilliant. I want to see more of these kind of things, especially in the news articles nowadays, and less so on all the other
stuff.
All the other things.
Stuff. You know, one of the things that is interesting to me is how before all this happened, we were also worried that technology was dividing us, and that we were, you know, the idea that we would drop in on mom at the nursing home via a screen instead of going to see her. I mean, that was bad. Oh, this shows how, you know, how bad things are in society. And you're right. We should be present physically if we can. On the other hand, thank God we have these technologies that we can connect when we're not allowed to be present.
And I think that's got to be the key, is that the virtual connection cannot replace a physical connection.
Yeah.
But in these times where it is physically impossible to go visit your grandma and grandpa, this is a brilliant and awesome and wonderful way to stay in touch until that time where you can go and physically go visit them again.
Right.
And I guess technology is wonderful in this sense, but I also just want to, I guess, re-emphasize the physicality that we are, and that we can't let the virtual replace the physical, but also we can't discount the virtual either, because it is very, very good in this situation.
It's what we got.
Well, and for people who live across the country and could not physically get over to see grandma and grandpa, this has opened up. This is a very good possibility to make that, at least those connections, a little bit more frequent.
And if your, you know, grandma and grandpa, you know, are able to kind of understand how to use an iPad and those sorts of things, it's also really cool to get them in the group family conversations and send pictures. And I mean, you know, not even just the video conference, FaceTime sort of things, but even the texts and the pictures and
sure.
Yeah, it is a wonderful way to bring the family closer when you are physically so distant.
Yeah. There was another article we'll link to, which was talking about not just folks who are in nursing homes, but even just the seniors who are living on their own. And in fact, it says that about 28% or a third of Americans over the age of 65 live by themselves. So they live by themselves, and they're stuck. They're the most vulnerable population. They're the ones who are not only stuck at home. They're probably retired, so they don't have a job to do. They're by themselves, and they're being told, "Oh, we're phasing everything back in, but you're the ones who have to stay at home for the foreseeable future, by yourself." And this article talks about how the ways that a lot of these people are using technology, like Zoom and other, Google Meet and other technologies, to connect with one another and with other people. Through it to have what do they talk about? Lectures, happy hours, like parties.
There was, this doesn't relate to necessarily the elderly, but there was, I'm just blanking on even who it was, but they were hosting a trivia, like if you went to Geeks Who Drink sort of trivia games at the local bar. It was that,
Yep.
But they were hosting it through Zoom.
Nice.
So
yeah,
cool things like that are definitely out there, and these people are plugging into some of those.
Right. They mentioned this one movement, I guess they call it the Village movement, which is they have these 300 chapters throughout the country of. It's called aging in place. Is the concept of, instead of getting to a certain age and automatically moving into assisted living or moving to a nursing home, you if you can financially, you stay independent. And the village gives you the ability to connect with people. It's designed to make sure people stay connected. And in fact, part of it is where it gets volunteers who will help the folks who are in the village, the elderly in the village, with getting to doctor's appointments or running errands and tasks. And they were talking about in this article in San Francisco, they've been ever since the lockdown started. They've had hundreds of new volunteers that they didn't have before, including millennials who are helping the older folks with technology training. It's a really positive thing that we're seeing be helping here, and it's great. But there's plenty of people out there who need more help. And San Francisco has a high technology quotient in the population. There are people all across this country who need help.
We do have a chapter of a village here. It's called Capital City Village. And for about a couple of years now, they basically have things like the activities you would have at a retirement center, only they do it across Austin and maybe even across the one geographical portion, where they have group activities, they have movies they're going to the mall, they're getting together for bingo or whatever. But they don't live in a retirement home. They're living in their own homes. It's just that They have people that will help get them to these activities.
Nice.
And it's there are some fees, I think, involved, but most of it's volunteer work.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things they point out in this article is that that more seniors, people over 65 than ever, have things like smartphones and internet access, but they're still not confident with it. They don't feel proficient with it. And I mean, 42% of folks over 65 have a smartphone, but in the general population, it's 80-something percent. I think it's 85% in overall. It's still, that leaves nearly 60% of seniors without these basic technology tools to stay connected, and it can be very isolating. I just imagine people stuck at home with no human contact, for weeks and months at a time. It's terrible. And I love the idea that there are people out there who are trying to reach these folks. And if you know of someone, as the listener, who needs, you try to see if you can find a way using safe distancing and all that sort of thing, but to make sure people around you are connected. It's vital. It is literally a lifeline. All right. The article on the villages on seniors who are becoming tech savvy is actually extensive, and there's a lot of information there, and it's worth checking out. We'll have links to both of these articles in the show notes. So let's move on to talking about some other headlines. Everyone knows that Google Chrome tends to be a bit of a resource hog, especially memory hog as it operates. But Google has announced that they're going to be basically throttling ads on web pages that use a lot of resources. So nothing's more infuriating than when you go to a web page and it loads slowly because some ad wants to suck up all your RAM and downloads a giant photo or video and eats up your disk and battery and all that sort of stuff. And so Chrome will detect that and throttle it and kill the ad, which is perhaps controversial too. What do you guys think of this?
Well, I could see where they could put a little placeholder and say so-and-so's ad blocked because of high usage, and that might help the advertiser kind of rethink how they're doing this. I think some of the ad blockers have already had that effect, where some of the ads have been so obtrusive that if they want to get them seen, they have to tone them down.
I wonder if websites are going to treat Chrome as an ad blocker, because sometimes you go to a website and it says turn off your ad blockers in order to see our site, or we're not going to let you see it. Washington Post. So I wonder if they're going to start treating Chrome like that, even though Chrome is...
Please go to a different browser, you mean?
Yeah.
That type of thing?
Yeah,
it could be.
I mean, I'm all for it. I hate ads to begin with, but I understand, that the advertisers want to make money with all of this. But I think for an ad to be effective for me, if it's going to be a memory hog, I'm going to be already irritated by it and not care.
Right.
So, maybe they need to, rethink how they're doing ads to begin with and not have it be so, of a memory hog. And then I might give it a little bit more.
Are either of you regular Chrome users?
Yeah, I am. I bounce back and forth between Brave and Chrome, but Chromium is based. Yeah.
When I get onto the Office PC, which is rare, I'm usually on my laptop. I'm too much in the Apple system, and I use Safari. So
is this would this, if Chrome is better about this stuff than Safari, would it make you think about switching at all, or?
At this point, no.
I didn't guess it would, but so I use Brave 90% of the time. I use Safari for a few things, including when I want to use my Apple Pay, which is one huge advantage of Safari. But Pat, you mentioned the Chromium-based browsers. Brave is Chromium-based. Do you know if this is going to be in Chromium, which is the engine that runs underneath both Chrome and Brave? Or is it just going to be Chrome itself? Do you know?
I would assume just Chrome, because also Edge now, Microsoft's browser, has gone Chromium.
Right.
So I think they're talking about actually, Google's Chrome browser is going to.
Okay.
Now it may, depending upon how that works, the others may adopt it. Like a lot of the things that Chrome has in there, Brave also has, and vice versa. They're learning from each other as they go. So, but I think it's just going to be Google's browser.
It would be nice if all the major browsers did this: Firefox, Edge, Safari, because that would be then the advertisers would have and publishers would have no choice but to fix their ads so that they aren't resource hogs, because they can't block all of them, because then no one would be able to go to their websites.
Right.
So, and then our next headline. This is a nice one. It's kind of a little funny one. We talked a few weeks ago about the new streaming service Quibi, which it works on your phone only, and it streams shows in 10 minutes or less. Every episode of a show is 10 minutes or less. And what we said at the time was, we don't know who's going to watch this. Who is this for? It seems like a gimmick and a dumb idea. In short.
Have you seen that they've backpedaled on like the whole idea that this can only be seen on your phone, and now there's so many people have asked why they can't stream it to their TVs, and so they're going to change that. Interesting. I wonder how that will work with their little gimmick about if you turn the phone, it changes how much you can see of the shot or whatever. So interesting. Great question. Well, one of the bigwigs behind Quibi, one of the big Hollywood big guys, is Jeffrey Katzenberg, and he's
one of the fellows behind DreamWorks. So he claims that the reason Quibi has not had a good launch, and it has not. In fact, the app is ranked 125 on the most downloaded free iPhone apps in the U.S. It only has 2.9 million customers, even with a free 90-day trial, which means that everybody is still in the free trial period, and still only 2.9 million, and only 1.3 million active users. So, so his claim is the reason nobody's using it is because of the pandemic, because the idea was that people would watch these on their commute on the train or on the bus. Are you buying that?
No.
You can put frosting on it, and it still doesn't mean that I like that type of cake.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, when you look at what they've offered for content, it's just, I mean, I don't think we actually talked much about the content the last time, but the content is just so like midday, like off cable channel programming. It's all weird game shows, or like, what was it? Chrissy Teigen as like a judge of something. I'm like, Chrissy's Court, like just all this weird stuff. People getting food shot at their face, and they have to, as it hits their face, they have to guess what the food was. Like, this is not compelling content, for me. So
kindergarten content.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's a little high.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. They're trying to target those people who either have a commute and they can handle 10-minute, kind of 5 to 10 minute episodes, or those who don't have a great attention span and can only handle 5 to 10 minutes. I think that target audience is just, I don't really know if they exist.
Right.
They were sort of comparing it. I guess I would put on maybe either side of the spectrum, like a normal 50-minute, 42-minute TV episode of whatever show you're watching versus the TikTok world,
right.
Like a 30-second video. And those are clearly different target audiences. And Quibi just, I think most people, if they want the short videos, they're going to go to TikTok, which, okay, there's some really cool things that I've seen put on TikTok, and I'm not a TikTok user. But anybody who's wanting something with any more substance than a 30-second clip of whatever, I think are willing to invest in a 42-minute episode and get invested.
Right.
And
or go to YouTube,
minutes.
where there's plenty of people creating content that's good.
It is short.
Yeah, and short, and in between. Yeah.
And I guess the commute, on the subway, most people are probably catching up on all the social media Facebook posts.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and that's his point is nobody's commuting, so nobody's watching. And so that's what's hurting him. But I'm gonna say if everything was still the way it was on February 1st, we'd still not be having as many people watching it. It doesn't.
Have either of you actually downloaded the app?
No.
Like there was,
Okay.
I looked at the lineup. I said there is zero here that interests me.
There's apparently something with Chris Hemsworth,
Liam Hemsworth,
like,
his
what?
brother, Liam.
Oh, okay, that's who it was.
Yeah.
But still, like, that doesn't at all. I'm not interested.
Not in 10-minute increments. That's the thing.
Right.
Do you remember years ago BMW had a series of ads? YouTube, like ads on YouTube that were like 3 or 4 minutes long, featuring the driver, starring Clive Owens, and there was a series of ads directed, but The Hire. It was a film
great.
series. Directors like Ang Lee and Guy Ritchie and Tony Scott, and I think Madonna was in one of them. And there was these series of ads that were just a few minutes long. It was 2001, 2002, and it was kind of like, that was actually compelling. Like each ad was kind of interesting. It's a couple minutes, but it wasn't like I'm not going to pay a monthly fee to get that. You know what I mean? It's an ad, but they made an ad into an interesting short film. I don't know. One of the things it shows me is that just because you're a big gun in Hollywood who've made a lot of money doesn't mean you understand the modern age of technology and streaming and that sort of things. And that's a lesson that applies in a lot of areas. And I think there needs to be, like, even in the church, I think there needs to be some docility and humility and some openness to that others may know a little bit more about this stuff, even though they're not powerful or in charge of things and that sort of stuff.
It's almost like he figures he knows what the technology is. He really doesn't understand his audience.
Right. Hollywood is getting its clock cleaned by, the likes of YouTube and TikTok and those sorts of things. And they're I think that it kind of shows how desperate they are. They can do good things. Look at Disney Plus. That's a huge hit. That's old Hollywood doing it right.
Yeah, and I would throw it that there are a number of cool things that are happening with the whole COVID situation. Disney Plus is of course just taken off, and
yes.
Those things are cool. But I've also seen I'm a Comic-Con guy, and of course pretty much every Comic-Con that I was maybe gonna hope to go to this year has been canceled or postponed.
Right.
But I've actually attended many virtual cons already where they just pull the actors from a particular show and it's all I have yet to I think one of them I had to pay. It was like a $5 fee to get to the stream, but so there are a number of outlets there, even in the bigwigs in Hollywood and everything that are able to try to bridge the gap.
Right.
And are really working. I think it doesn't compare at all to actually going to a con, but I've been able to interact with more actors in a virtual sort of way in the past few months that I wouldn't have expected possible. So yeah,
just look at what John Krasinski has done with his Some Good News YouTube channel.
Oh, that's been fantastic.
I mean,
a friend sent me one. Yeah. I watched the one particularly where the girl couldn't go to Hamilton.
Oh my gosh, that was the best.
That was just tears.
Amazing. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Some
can't
people
imagine.
are really able to thrive and do some really cool things.
Well, and things like some of the YouTubes where like Patrick Stewart's been doing the Song of the Day type thing.
Yes.
And these are free. But, if somebody wanted to put out something high quality, they could charge a very nominal amount and probably still make money on it.
Right, right. Yeah. Today he had Jonathan Frakes socially distancing doing it from his patio.
Cool.
He was at the far end of the patio reading the sonnet. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, there's just there are ways that Hollywood can adapt to the current, not even just the virus thing, but just to the current technology. Mm-hmm. That they've been stuck in the box, and they need to get their minds out of the box and start thinking and looking around that others may have good ideas too.
Well, like our Alamo Draft House, I don't know how successful it's been, but they do a lot of odd old things, Mystery Science Theater and a whole bunch of, the pancake stuff. And since they can't be doing that right now, you can pay I don't know, it's $5 or $10 or whatever, and participate in those remotely. And they'll have a night that you do that, and then they'll have a little trivia thing or a little special mini short ahead of it like they normally do. That's worth doing. Yeah. I mean, it's creativity. That's the creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that Facebook is doing in response to the pandemic, and I'm not sure whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, but that kind of goes in line with it being Facebook. But so many small businesses are suffering because their storefronts are closed, and they really weren't set. They had never really become e-commerce retail sort of things. So Facebook is running out this new product called Shops, and what it does is it lets retailers or businesses who sell stuff to the public who have Facebook pages set up a shop on their connected to, I have to be careful how I say it, connected to their Facebook page. And also it gives them an Instagram shopping experience as well. And all these other features, and it's kind of it's interesting. What do you think of this? It's supposedly they're going to rely on third-party services that are already doing e-commerce, like Shopify and WooCommerce and those sorts of folks. But what do you think of this? Does this seem like, is this another Facebook where the 10,000-pound giant, stomping through things, but we don't really know what we're doing? Or does this seem like actually something that could be useful to small businesses?
It's almost like a parallel to Etsy. Etsy's out there for all these little craft people that can't afford a store, can't be gone from the home that long. And so Etsy has grown up, and especially during this time, Etsy has been very heavily used.
Right.
And it's almost like they're looking at that and saying, let's do that for other types of businesses. And I think it's a laudable goal. I'm just not sure that Facebook is going to be the best place to do it.
Right, exactly. Father, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just going to say there's a massive audience with Facebook. I would agree that I think it's a great idea. I sort of am, and I think I'll forever be, even though I use Facebook, I'm just always inherently skeptical of Facebook. So
right.
I would still prefer to go to someone's Etsy page or something like that. But for businesses,
this is one thing that worries me is that Facebook's goal seems to be to become the internet. They want you to come to Facebook and stay at Facebook and not go anywhere else.
Garden.
Yes, and this would be part of it. If you do all your shopping on Facebook, they say that the shops are free to create. Where they would make their money is they would take a portion of the payment. So when someone buys something, they get a cut, and businesses would presumably buy ads to promote their shops and that sort of thing. So that's where they presumably be making their money. But I think for some people this would be good, but it locks you in. You're now beholden to Facebook. If you decide, if never mind, if you decide you want to go somewhere else, if Facebook decides that you're persona non grata, or you violated community standards, which some of us have fallen afoul of in the past for crazy reasons that I still don't understand. You're out of business. Your shop is gone, and that would worry me. I think you're always better off running your own thing if you can. If you can set up your own site with your own e-commerce, that's your best bet. But even then, better to diversify, even just to if you have an Etsy shop and maybe a Facebook shop and maybe something else too, that if one of those goes away, you're still covered.
This could be like a stepping stone to building something outside of the Facebook world. If you have nothing, this might give you kind of a step in that world.
A beginning, yeah.
If I were Etsy, I would say, hey, you don't have to be a crafter to use our stores, and offer that as a free thing to let other people start using their services. Of course, they charge per transaction too. Yeah. But, I'd rather it be anywhere other than Facebook.
Right.
Well, and there's a lot of people that already use Amazon Marketplace or eBay, to have their storefronts up. So,
well, that's true. Yeah.
There's other options. For sure.
Right. Certainly Etsy needs some competition because there are practices that Etsy does that I'm not happy with. Like they make it impossible to search for a particular company or retailer or a seller. I was just the other day trying to find a particular seller that I know of, and I searched on Etsy, and it was not giving it to me. It was just like I typed in exactly, put it in quotation marks, would not give it to me, and it's very frustrating. That because what they want to do is have you go through one of their ads, which then they get paid for, as opposed to if you just show up to search. So it's there needs to be there does need to be better competition in the space to push these different companies to treat both the customers and the retailers better. All right, so let's talk about this next one is fun. Let's talk about something fun. Pat, I think you linked to this one. We all know about Slack, which is the team communication tool that people who work in offices often use. Well, what about The Office, Dunder Mifflin? Pat, what's going on here with this? The Office Slack?
Well, I had not watched The Office, and so somehow something came up. Well, it was John Krasinski. It was such good news. I wanted to see who he was, so I started watching The Office, and then I saw this notice that The Office was going to be broadcast via Slack. Not broadcast, but like a Twitter feed of what was going on in the office.
Right.
And so when you go into, you have to register for it, and then they let you admit you in. But at that point, you start seeing the conversation in real time, elapsed time, as things happen, or you can go back to the beginning and start and watch, see all of the dialogue. But it's been pretty funny.
So,
and they said that line for line, all of the episodes will be on Slack.
Right. That's what I was wondering. So they have all the different channels or, different parts of the company, and all the characters are in there, and they're each day from 9 to 5. So it's just the work day. They're posting stuff having to do with a particular episode each day. So as if the people who work in the office had Slack at their disposal when they were filming this, 10 years ago or more now. I think that's hysterical. I'm definitely going to sign up to check it out. I'm sorry I've missed so much of it.
They do ask you not to make comments. Any comments that you make will be removed as soon as they close out the day. They'll be all gone.
Right.
But you can do the thumbs up and the heart and the different things to respond to the particular things that are going on, and they seem to enjoy that.
Nice.
But they use a lot more emoticons and stuff in the actual transcript than, of course, they would have had on screen.
Yeah.
But it's been hilarious.
Oh, good. I'm going to have to check that out. Now, Father, you had something related to a sitcom that you wanted to talk about, too. What was that?
So I haven't watched The Office. I tried, and the humor's a bit too outlandish for me.
Okay.
But this is sort of like in the similar vein, Parks and Rec. Parks and Recreation, that is something that I got into, and so I've gone through all the seasons. But it just something that they were able to do with this whole COVID situation was they filmed a special episode. Each of them is from their homes and where they are, and the whole episode revolves around, more or less, they have this phone tree where they want to check in with one another through the in-universe equivalent of Zoom.
Uh-huh.
And so there's really not a plot to the story, but it's just it kind of flows from one person to the other. And,
yeah.
Right. So it was just a really fun episode, and lots of laughs, and of course they were raising money for COVID, various food pantries and stuff. So
fun.
Yeah, a kind of another fun thing to throw into this whole world of COVID right now.
Okay, Father, if you like Parks and Rec, you need to find, the actor Patton Oswalt, right? He guest starred on the Parks and Rec once as this person who was supposed to, what's it called when you speak with during a legislative session?
Filibuster. Yes. And I have seen the extended cut of that. Yeah.
So the director told him to ad-lib for as long as he possibly could go in a stream of speaking without being interrupted. So he ad-libbed how he thought. What was it?
I think he was trying to give the plot of what episode 7 should be.
Yes, this was before The Force Awakens came out, and so he went and on. It got more and more bizarre.
And I think the YouTube video, the extended cut, is like upwards of 10 minutes or something.
Yes.
I mean, it's impressive.
It's hysterical. So yeah, if you get a chance to
jealous
find
of yeah,
that was great. All right, so let's now move on to our picks of the week. I think it'd be a good time to do that. I want to turn it over to both of you, and we'll turn to Pat. Pat, what's your pick of the week this week?
Well, I have a household in which sometimes with my computer being in the same room as the TV, there are times that I don't want my computer light all the way on while the TV is being watched, because that's very distracting for the TV person.
Uh-huh.
So I got this lamp that's from Tetronics, And it basically, it's one of these infinity type things. You can make it very dim or very bright, and you can change the color to be blue or orange or kind of a white light, so that I could see my keyboard,
right?
Because I don't have a backlit keyboard, and I can see the papers on my desk without being interrupting. And it's a pretty nice little lamp. It also happens to have a Qi charger.
Nice.
On it, and even though their specs said that it wouldn't work beyond a certain point of iOS, mine is, and it's working fine on my X with the 13.4 version of it. But it just was a really nice addition to there, so I could have a lamp without blinding everybody with the overhead light.
Nice. And it says something about Philips enabled. Like, does it work with Philips?
Well, since I don't have one of those, I wouldn't know. I just ran right past that.
Okay, I'm going to dig into that, see what that means.
Sure.
If you can control it like the Hue light bulbs, that would be cool.
Ooh, that would be I just totally missed it.
All right, that's great. That's a good one. Father Andrew, what's your pick this week?
So before I get into my pick of the week, I have to kind of set this up. So on our Secrets of Star Wars podcast, we did a special May the 4th live broadcast. And if you watch that, you would notice at the end of it, I had 5 actors from the Star Wars universe pop in and give some shout outs to all of us who are podcasting and our listeners. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to reveal that I am not on a first name basis with these actors. But what I'm going to share is that, I mean, they're happy to do this, but I'm going to share how I was able to get these shout outs. So my pick of the week is it's a website called Cameo, CAMEO.com. There's also a smartphone app for it as well, but essentially it's a service that various celebrities, whether it's a public person, a chef from Food Network, athletes, actors predominantly, if they are willing, they sign up with Cameo, and then they are available to record personalized video shout outs for birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, you name it. And so I was able to send out a bunch of these to some of the Star Wars actors with the specifics of the show and who we were and the names. And they were able to then send those back to me. And depending on the person in question, it's not free, unfortunately, but they can range from $15 to upwards of $150 to $200, depending on the celebrity. So just a really cool thing. And a lot of them are, some of them have never been on it before until COVID. So they're finding it a fun way to connect with fans and still be present. And it's a really cool thing for us to be on the receiving end of it. I had Paula Dean record a special voice shout out for my little brother.
Nice.
Jim O'Hare from Parks and Rec, I had her record one for my sister-in-law for Mother's Day, and he took 3 full minutes in character as Jerry, Larry, whoever
Jerry.
You want to call him. Right. But he spent 3 minutes in character pretending he didn't know how to work his phone and was talking to his wife off camera, and was then all embarrassed because he was already recording. It was hilarious.
Awesome.
And then of course I got the Star Wars ones, and so just they can be a really cool Father's Day gift if your dad is a fan of a particular celebrity who's on there, or birthday shout out or podcast shout out. So just a really, really cool thing, and I don't even know how I stumbled across it, but
that's cool.
It's been fantastic.
If you want the soup Nazi to from Seinfeld to tell someone no soup for you, you can do that for $80. That is awesome. It's an interesting idea. Like, and plus these celebrities are all stuck at home now; they're not working. So what else do they get to do? They can make a few bucks doing this. I noticed Big Papi David Ortiz, the retired Boston Red Sox legend, is available for $540, which I know some Bostonians who might throw in for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw somebody on Facebook. There was some celebrity that had done a greeting for her spouse's birthday, and they were just over the moon.
Yes. And it was so great to have those actors on the Secrets of Star Wars. The to see your co-hosts who were completely in the dark about it, their expressions, their reactions was priceless. It was amazing, and it was so awesome to see. So yeah, awesome.
These are the real actors, not like you're getting a standard form fan letter response. Like
right.
They are personalized selfie videos
talking to you using your name. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And with the Star Wars podcast, I loved that so much.
That was awesome.
So is this a new variety of the singing telegram?
It's a celebrity telegram, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my pick, that's a great pick, Father. That is awesome. My pick this week is something that you might be able to use these days. If you need a webcam, and a lot of people need a webcam, right now, you can't get them. They're not available. Maybe some really cheap off-brand ones are out there that I wouldn't trust. And so what do? All the Logitech ones are sold out everywhere. Well, if you have a smartphone, an iPhone or Android, you download this app called Epic Cam, EPOCCAM, Epic Cam, and put it on your phone. And then you install something on your PC or Mac, a little piece of software. It turns your phone into a webcam that will be recognized by Skype or Zoom or anything. And of course, your phone, and if it's a relatively new phone, and if it's an expensive phone like mine is, has an amazing camera in it, and is probably better than most webcams. And so you can use your phone as a webcam, even wirelessly, if you want. So you don't even need to plug it in. So pretty awesome. Epic Cam. They have a free version. They have and then they have an HD version, which gives you the higher definition quality, and as well as some other features, which, I don't know. There were some gimmicky features that were offered, but just the ability to use your phone as a webcam, it was amazing. So just between the, if you have your phone, get some kind of stand like the webcam stand. Was my pick of the week a few weeks ago. And you're good to go. That would be my pick of the week. All right. So we do want to, as we wrap things up, take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Technology, including Deacon Anthony, Arvin G., Diane F., Christian E., and Michael B. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Technology and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So that's it from us. We'd love to hear what you think of our discussion. You can let us know by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology or the SQPN Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or send an email to technology@sqpn.com, and I'll put links to all of the articles and to the picks of the week on our show notes at sqpn.com. Remember to like each episode as we post it on Facebook, retweet it on Twitter where we're at SQPN, and leave comments there. We love to engage with you on social media and love to hear from you. So until next time, Father Andrew Kinstetter, thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Technology.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
And Pat Scott, thank you as well.
Adios.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.